All right. Welcome, everybody, to our first episode of Mindset Talks, where we get into the mind of a top producing real estate agent or business owner. Very excited today. How many of you would, like to sell 100 homes a year with one buyer agent and two admin? Well, you're in for a treat because we're here with Landon from Cedar City, Utah, and he's been doing this for years. Welcome, Landon.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yep, I got you.
Okay, my AirPods aren't working, so I apologize. What was your question, Rob?
That's what I was just introducing you, man. Excited to have you. You've been a friend for years. You inspire me. You've inspired me on my journey. So I'm just excited for folks to learn with you here today.
Oh, excited to be here. Thank you.
Cool. So do I have that right? Is it one buyer agent and two admin?
One buyer's agent, two admin, correct.
Awesome. And what's your best year transaction wise?
My best year, I believe, was 112, 115.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah.
All right, good. And how long ago was that?
I want to say that was my first year breaking 100, which was 3 years ago, and then ever since then, we've stayed above 100. It's been between 105 to 115 the last 3 years. But what I've focused more on is family time. So working a little less, but still doing the same amount of volume. So
love it. And what's your goal for this year?
Goal for this year is 136.
Awesome. Okay, good. Now, how does that break up in terms of listing sold versus buyer sales on average?
So I want to do 100 personally, and then my buyer's agent will do 36.
Okay. So that 100, do you mix some buyers in there yourself, or is that just listings?
Very rarely. If I do, it's pretty much just, hey, it's a past client. We saw your listing. We want to make an offer type deal. But for the most part, everything goes to my buyer's agent.
Okay. So you're very listing heavy. Is that safe to say? Your business
Absolutely.
structure?
Yeah.
Okay. So most of the country has seen just extreme shortages in inventory. Is your market different, or are you seeing that too?
Shortage of listings?
Correct.
Yeah, our inventory is still very low. Absolutely. I'm in a much smaller town. We have about 45 to 50,000 people in my town. And so, yes, we have a shortage, but our average income is not high. So it still takes a little bit to sell a home. And when I say a little bit, it's probably 30 to 45 days to get an offer on a home. Whereas COVID times, it was immediately with multiple offers. So we're just getting back to a normal market.
Gotcha. Okay. So you've slowed a little, but it still sounds like a seller's market overall.
Correct.
So I'm curious, what over the past 3 years, you've stayed pretty consistent. You said you've put a focus on family time. How have you continued to grow that listing side of your business or maintain it when the inventories decrease so much?
A big part of it would be accountability. I mean, you've been my accountability partner for 2-3 years now.
Yeah.
So seeing you crush it in good times and me not so much, and then vice versa, we just go back and forth to kind of help each other. And then I've always talked about kind of the wheel of doom that I have with my office and people that I'm on Skype with, and that always pushes me.
Tell us about that. What's the wheel of doom?
The wheel of doom I created with 3-4 friends. We didn't want to necessarily put money into play. I mean, we're all making good money, and losing $100 here and there, it doesn't really drive us. But getting shot by a paintball gun, having to put fake nails on, wearing a wig for the day, it's just not fun. So just something different to push you outside of your comfort zone.
So you've created some challenges, outside of real estate, fear-based almost, right? To kind of keep you moving forward. All right, good. All right, so let's go back to the beginning. Let's go back to the early years. When you were starting your sales business, trying to get it off the ground, what worked for you in the beginning?
Listening to a lot of books helped me a lot, getting the right mindset. But I would also say the role play and studying scripts. I was studying scripts, role playing, probably 1.5 to 2 hours a day.
Wow. Okay. So you put a lot of time into the role play in the early years. Okay.
Absolutely.
How did you know where to direct your energy? Like a lot of agents are saying, I want to do this, right? But what do I do? How did you know where to direct your energy? Like even to start the role play process?
Just to make sure I understand, I mean, directing my energy, like what to do in a day.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
100%.
I'm just kind of a robot. I mean, honestly, I've kind of been that way. I'm very coachable, and you tell me how to do something and I'm going to go do it and hopefully do it better. And so I knew the name of the game was talking to people and being on the phones, and I didn't have any appointments. So I was literally at the beginning on the phones for 8 hours a day. Well, probably 6. I would say 6 hours a day because I would put a lot of time into that role play and practice as well.
Amazing. Okay. So 6 hours on the phone searching for business, and then another couple of hours actually practicing.
Correct. Yeah.
How long did it take you before you got a little momentum and got got some traction with that schedule? Because you're putting a lot of effort in. I could see some people doing that for a week and getting frustrated and giving up.
Yeah, I don't know. I had really good support from the beginning. Luckily for me, I started my real estate career straight with Mike Ferry, the MFO system. So I was taught how to do it, and I tried to follow the schedule they gave me to the T.
Okay.
Was I effective every time? No, but I would say the biggest thing about me is I'm very committed and disciplined. So I will show up day in, day out, regardless of how I feel. Sometimes you're not going to get the results you want just because I'm there to just put in the time, but it's helped me build step by step by being here every day, doing what I need to do.
Yeah, and I can attest to that firsthand. You show up and do the work each day. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Is there anything you do with your mindset, right? Because that in itself is not easy. Like just showing up and doing the work every day. Is there anything you do with your mindset that helps
Honestly,
you?
I could probably do a little more on my mindset. Mindset's probably one of the hardest or trickiest things for me. At the beginning, I mean, you didn't know what you didn't know, but once you get to a certain level, people expect you to perform. You have staff to pay, you have people to provide for. And so the change in the market kind of really hit me. And we were still making deals happen, but it was slower. I doubted myself, and you had to go back to the basics of trusting the skills that you've gained over the years. If I do prospecting, I will get listings. And I'm not perfect at it. I mean, every morning I write down in a journal, talk about my goals, affirmations, what I have to do in the day, and going out with purpose every day is going to be the biggest thing to help you. If you just go out to just get on the phones with no goal in mind, no objective, you'll probably land some deals, but you won't be as effective and fast growing as you probably want.
That's so good. It sounds like it's not just one thing, right? It's having an awareness of a lot of different things. And if you're not intentional about your day and you're just floating through, it's very hard to get results. And I also heard you say, you remembered the times that you did take the listings. And I think we forget as agents, even top producing agents, we forget that a lot. Having that to fall back on, that past experience of success, you have to remind yourself of that because it can be easy to forget.
Yeah. I mean, people think we're bulletproof and we're always doing deals, but we're human. I've had to have my group of, how many of there are us, Rob? We got you, Cody, Dan, Hopkins, and Greg. So 6 of us.
Yep.
I constantly will go to you guys. Hey, I'm having a bad week, bad day. Like what do you guys got to lift me up? And so, I mean, having a solid group of people that are in your daily grind, I think would be a big thing. But also knowing that you have to go from A to Z. Like I couldn't have gotten here without all the failures that I had in my years past. And so everyone wants the magic pill, and there's just no magic pill. You have to go through all those failures to learn.
Let's talk about that for a minute, because that's really good. I think a lot of people see a successful agent like yourself, and I think the instinct is, oh, he just must go on a straight arrow up. just must build off it naturally over the years. But
Mhm.
that's not the case, right? There's challenges along the way, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there's always stumbling blocks, and I can't remember the quote exactly. At the very beginning stages of my career, I was way into motivational quotes. I still am today. I mean, you can see the background here, but it talked about success is going from failure to failure without a loss of enthusiasm. And
Love that.
so, if you can go through failure to failure without a loss of enthusiasm, and also knowing your goal and what you want to obtain, that's how you'll achieve your goals.
Love it. Love it. Can you think of a time in your career that an example of a challenge, something that didn't go your way, and what you learned from it?
Oh, which one to choose from? I mean, even just recently, I mean, I've had so many highs and lows this year. I've consistently listed 8 to 12 properties a month this
Yeah.
year. I think the lowest month I've had is 8 listings taken for the year. But it's just the constant doubt that creeps in. Mike Ferry always talks about how there's so much negativity in this world today, and if you don't work to push that out, then it'll get you. And so I would say my biggest thing that I'm trying to overcome this year is staying very confident in my abilities and in what I can do, and keeping that doubt and fear out of my mind.
I love that. He's human, right? Like it's not easy for him. And when he says 8 listings is a down month, I know for a lot of people that would be a great 3 or 4 months, right? But he's trained himself to have that expectation and surrounded himself with people that also have that expectation when he
Absolutely.
doesn't believe it, right? So it's great. All right, I want to go back to the beginning because we are in a business where 87% of the agents don't make it, right? It's tough. So I know you said you had accountability, you had coaching, you had discipline. From a mindset perspective, how did you attack each day to ensure that you wouldn't fail? Or were there times where you're like, man, I don't know if this is for me?
Um, I would say year 2 or 3. I mean, I started off pretty strong. My very first year, I believe I did 38 deals.
Nice.
Um,
Great year one.
yeah, great year one. And I grew up with no money. And so getting 38 deals, gosh, I think I know it was under 100,000 that I made, but I thought I was king of the mountain at
Yeah.
that time. And my wife and I just kept spending what we were making. And we really put ourselves in a bind year 2 or 3. And that's where I really questioned if I could do this or not. And luckily my father-in-law, he's a good business owner. He told me to not make stupid decisions. Don't waste your money. Um, Build up for winter months as you're beginning to grow. Like, you will have high months and low months, so prepare for that. And so luckily he believed in me. He knew I was a good salesman, but I had to go through again those highs and lows to learn how to manage money, how to find right accountability partners, how to do all those things. And so people just don't understand that all those things are building blocks. They People that are starting out, and I would say the reason why probably this 80, I think you said 87% don't
Yeah.
make it. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
I would say it's just because when they hit their first 1 to 5 stumbling blocks, they just say this isn't for me.
Mhm.
And I've hit those. But those are required learning moments to build a successful career.
100%. And what I'm hearing from you too is, yes, you're very disciplined and you're super focused. But even from the beginning, it sounds like you really were intentional, whether it was family or coaching, or you were intentional about surrounding yourself with people who could help you.
Oh,
You
absolutely.
didn't attack this by yourself, even from the start. You had help.
No, and I mean, luckily, I mean, I grew up with that. I grew up with sports, with coaches, and
Yep.
why would I try to recreate the wheel when someone's already done it, and I can learn from someone? And
Yep.
so, like, with social media is a love-hate relationship. I mean, there is so much bad, but so much good as well out there. And if you could find someone that has already done what you want to do, all you have to do is go chat with them.
It's a cheat code, right? And what I've seen, a lot of people that have done it, like they want to share, how they did it. They want to help, right? And I think that's the fear that a lot of people think, well, they're just going to keep it a secret and save it for themselves. But to me, I found especially in real estate, the more successful agents are happy to share, and they want to see each other grow, right?
100%. I would agree.
Yeah. All right, cool. All right. So let's go back to, 100 deals a year, past 3 years. We've seen a shift in the market. I know we've been talking a lot about mindset. Sounds like yours was strong from the beginning. Have you made any shifts recently, past 6 months or so, in the way you're attacking your mindset and going after your goals?
Yeah. It's just pumping belief into it. I mean, what you focus on is what you're going to keep putting in your mind. And at the very beginning, I was so focused on it's a down market, stuff isn't selling, things aren't happening. And immediately once I changed to look at, well, what is selling? What is happening in the market? Stuff started moving for me. And so it's just funny, the shift of open-minded versus closed-minded. And so Mike Ferry always talks about how there's always going to be homes that are selling. And so you just need to do that. So I had to relearn how to talk to my clients in a downward changing market. I had to relearn how to chase proper listings, and not staying the same. And so, I mean, once you get to a certain point, I just felt like I was always going to just grow and keep going upward. And I think you can, but if you don't change with what's happening, then you're not going to make it.
Yeah, that focus is so huge, right? And I find that myself, like usually if I'm in a rut, it's because I'm just going through the motions, right? I'm not intentional. Like I'm not focused on what I'm doing. Because once you shift, all of a sudden you start attracting what you're looking for when you have the right focus, right?
I would agree 100%. And it's not easy. It's definitely not easy, but that's why I started to write in a journal every day to really try to create that purpose and what I want to accomplish day in and day out.
Journaling, affirmations. You do that. When do you do that, Landon? In the morning, at night?
Morning. Yeah. So I wake up about 4:45 every day. And
Nice.
So between 4:45 to 5:30, I'll be journaling, and then I hit the gym.
Okay, good. So you get your focus for the day, and then you get your exercise in, and then you hit the ground running.
Correct.
Okay, good. Well, listen, you've been doing this for a high level for a long time. I'm curious, what keeps you motivated now?
Chasing bigger goals. One thing that I've learned and saw, like from the beginning, I constantly tried to surround myself with people that wanted to grow. And then when the people that I was with didn't want to keep growing with me, I had to find a new group of friends. And so I just kept trying to level up with different people, and hoping that they would all come with me. But it's all about your surroundings. If you could have solid people to help grow with you, they're in the dogfight as well, and it really helps.
So you really do believe you're the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, listen, one of the things I've always admired about you, obviously you're very disciplined, you're very focused on your real estate career, but it's not all real estate with you. I know you have family goals. I know you have health goals. You're not 100% real estate 24 hours a day, right?
No, I have 5 kids. 5 kids at
5
home.
kids.
Yeah.
and they have activities and they're into sport.
Yeah, I mean, my boy, he's in travel ball. So typically, I mean, Friday and Saturdays are out for me now. And so I had to shift my work week from 5-6 days down to 4 and still do the same amount of volume to continue to grow. So yeah, I mean, I will never miss my kids' sporting events, school events, anything. Like I'm there for my family regardless, and I have to work around my work schedule to fit into theirs.
I love it. So you cut it down to 4 days a week, which is amazing. 100 deals, 4 days a week, for just in case you didn't catch that. Do you coach too? Do you coach No. Okay. So you're just involved, very involved.
Yeah,
all right. And then
involved.
you did like a half Ironman, or?
Did a half Ironman in May, and I'm training for a full Ironman as well right now.
All right. So you have 5 kids. You're working 4 days a week. You're training for an Ironman. Just did a half. How do you manage it all?
You have to plan. If you go into a day just saying, "Oh, I'll make stuff happen, it's not going to work. You will run out of time very quickly. You'll find stuff to keep you busy that's not productive. And so the biggest thing is having someone that's done it before. I mean, we've kind of talked about that. Is I immediately hired a coach as soon as I could afford it to help guide me and grow. And it's really just planning things out. I mean, there's a reason why I wake up so early all the time. Is if I try to work out in the afternoon, I would never see my family.
Right.
Or I wouldn't work out.
Right. And you're not willing to sacrifice that. So how scheduled is your day? Like in terms of, it sounds like planning is important. Is every task planned 80%? Where are you in that?
I would say about 75% is planned. I'll always know like my kids' stuff, so I don't miss that. Mornings from 4:45 a.m. all the way up to 1 is very strictly planned. But my afternoon shifts between appointments, what my admin need, family events. So the afternoon schedule could definitely be a little tighter. But I have to kind of have movement to be able to help my team.
So is it fair to say you'll move appointment slots around based on kids' activities in the afternoon?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, I've had to go to baseball games and then have a shirt and tie in my truck so that I can change and go straight to the appointment afterwards.
Okay, good. And then morning time is for what usually? Between 9 and 12.
Oh, 9 and 12 is strictly prospecting. That's the time that really does not get affected at all.
And what percentage of your business comes from prospecting?
I don't know. I would dare say 100%. I mean, of course, now we have past clients, people referring me stuff, but it's because I've been doing this since 2013. It's 10 years of prospecting every day.
So you don't just wait for them to call you, you're actively calling your past clients routinely.
If I waited for people to call me, I would probably only do, I would dare say 25 or less deals a year if I just sat on my hands and did nothing.
So the other 75% comes from you actively kind of getting after it, for lack of a better word.
Well, I would dare say even it has to still be the 100% because yes, people will call me back, but it's because I'm continually letting them know I'm in the business and I'm here to help them out with their needs. There are so many people like me and you that will pick up other agents' past clients because they're not calling them.
Yep.
And so I know the same thing would happen to me. If I'm not keeping up with all my people, someone else is going to be calling them right behind me.
100%. I love that. So when you're calling people actively, are you buying leads too, or is this all self-generated?
I have spent $0 marketing my entire career.
Amazing. So 100 deals a year. He's got a buyer's agent. He's not spending money on marketing. So not only is it a productive business, but it's profitable and it's efficient. There's not a lot of gaps. There's not a lot of wasted money, it sounds like.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm a very lean, mean. I mean, we try to keep it exactly what Mike Ferry preaches. And that's a big thing. Like my buyer's agent, she's a full-time mom. She works real estate part-time and will do 36 deals this year and make 130 grand.
Amazing. So your business is helping others too, right? It's not just about you. You have admin staff, you have a buyer's agent. There's a lot of people that run this train with you.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Cool. So I guess we have time for a few more questions. What are your thoughts on balance? This is a popular topic today. Depending on, you could ask 10 different people their thoughts on this. You get 10 different answers. What's your mindset on balance? What are your thoughts on that?
I think, man, it's very tricky, very, very tricky. But what I went into this because I got invited from another realtor. I was doing door-to-door sales, selling pest control. I got invited to help another agent because he was moving out of town. I grew up in northern Utah. And he was in the office 7 a.m. and not home till 9 p.m. And when I sat down with my wife, she was like, if that is going to be our life, this is not worth it. So from the very beginning, myself and my wife, we sat down and agreed that I will not miss dinner more than one night in a row. Family, I will not miss any kids' events. So I think you have to decide what you are going to balance.
Yep.
I think that's a big thing, because you can put your whole life into work and make a lot of money. But for me, my biggest memories are not making all the money. It's what this job has allowed me to do with my family. And so I would say, yes, I have a balance, but it's family focused, family and faith focused. I have a very strong belief in God, family, and it's all worked out. And so I guess you got to decide where you want to spend the majority of your life.
Yeah, that's well said. It's never going to be perfect, right? But
No.
I think but for you, it sounds like you have an awareness of it, right? And you're trying to fill each bucket. And if a bucket's a little short, you have the awareness to recognize it and go, like, you're not going more than 2 nights a week without family dinner. Like, setting those minimum standards, I think are huge. And we all need to do that, because if you don't put it in place, we all know this business can just take you in a million directions.
We could work until midnight if we wanted to. I mean, there's going to be constant people we could chat with and what we could do there. So yeah, I think you got to pick and choose your battles. Luckily, I have a very strong, supportive wife that allows me to work hard. I would not be where I was without her, 100%. She sacrifices a lot for me, but we're constantly communicating. Like, how's your levels of energy today? Am I failing at anything? Like, we're constant in communication to know how to better help our family.
That's amazing. It's just like anything else, right? If we're not putting energy into the relationship at home, that's going to decrease, right? So yeah. That's amazing.
Kind of like we talked about at the very beginning, purpose. And so I have a purpose for the day on working out. I have a purpose on what I want to accomplish with work, with family. Everything. There are things that don't get as much love and attention, but I think that's just times and flows. Like, at the very beginning, I told my wife I really wanted to see how big and far I could take this. And so more time got put into work, but we didn't have 5 kids then.
Right.
And so I could do that. And so I think you got to decide your balance at the time, and my balances will continually shift. And there's a reason why the last 3 years I've stayed consistent between the 100 to 115 deals, is because that's provided a great life for my family, but it's also allowed me to take more time off to spend time with my kids, because that's my main goal.
Amazing. I always like to say there's seasons, right, in life. And you kind of touched on that, when, there's going to be times where you can go a little harder at work. There's going to be times where you have to pull back and give yourself some grace, right? Give yourself because I think a lot of times we can be our hardest critics, right? Where we feel like we're not putting enough in, right? But it's okay, right? Give yourself a little grace. You're in a certain season of life, and enjoy what is going well. As we wrap up, I guess, what advice would you have for someone who is, stuck in a plateau? Maybe it's in business, maybe it's in real estate, maybe it's health or at home, right? Could be new agent, veteran. We all get plateaus. What advice would you give for someone who's a little bit stuck right now?
Find someone that's doing what you want to do and be their best friend. Like, now that once you said that, I didn't even think about this, but I have 5 different friends outside of my work that I'm constantly sending, here's my workout goals, here's what I'm doing in fitness, here's there. I have so many people that I'm talking to about gospel things. And I didn't even realize this until you kind of pointed it out, but like, who you surround yourself is going to lift you in that area. And so I have specific people that I lean on in health, fitness, wealth. I have an investing group. I have a spiritual group, family. Like, my wife and I are very in tune with that. And so I would say the biggest thing you need to do to succeed is find someone that's going to help lift you up to where you don't know what you don't know. And they'll help you find out what you don't know.
Love it. I love how you said lift it up, right? Sometimes we can't see it until we actually get there. And some other people sometimes have to bring us to that spot where we can now see. That's so good. Awesome, man. Well, listen, thank you for joining us. I know you provided a ton of value for our community today. Where can people connect with you if they have questions on real estate in Cedar City, Utah?
The biggest thing would be my cell phone. I would say social media, but I'm not a fan of social media. I don't get on there too often.
Sure.
But my cell phone, 435-704-4697. Reach me, text me, reach out with any questions you have.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for watching. If you have questions, shoot me a DM. I'm always happy to collaborate and learn with others. And Landon, I really appreciate you joining, man.
Thanks for having me, Rob. Appreciate it.
All right. Talk to you soon.
See ya.